The meeting stalled because my screen wouldn't open the one thing everyone was waiting on. I'm locked out. Not metaphorically. Literally. The admin panel just sits there and spins, then throws an error like it's bored of me. I refresh. Same result. Someone clears their throat. The projector hums, sharp and annoying, like it's mocking me. The CEO looks over, not angry, confused. That's worse. Why don't you have admin access? A pause that stretches. Where's the clearance I approved? Before I can even inhale, my manager leans back in his chair. Comfortable. That half smile he uses when he thinks something is settled. I reassigned it. That's it. No explanation, no apology. Just a statement dropped on the table like paperwork. Nothing happens after. No gasp. No follow-up. A couple of people glance at their laptops. Someone taps a pen. The projector keeps humming. Loud enough that I notice it now. I don't argue. I don't jump in. I don't do anything dramatic. Honestly, I'm trying to line up what he just said with the last few months of my life, and it isn't fitting. It's like two timelines got stitched together wrong. My name is Lena, years old. I stare at the error message again, like it might change if I look long enough. It doesn't. My hands feel cold on the keyboard. I think about the email I sent last week. The follow-up I almost sent after that and didn't, because I didn't want to seem pushy. That choice lands heavier now. The CEO's eyes stay on the screen in front of me, not on my face, not on my manager either. Just the screen. Measuring something. I shift in my chair. The sound is small, but it feels loud in my head. I can feel the room waiting for me to do something. Say something. Own something that suddenly isn't mine. The story you are about to hear is a fictional work created by the writing team at Her Fear. It's built from patterns people recognize, moments that feel familiar, and decisions that don't look brave until much later. The CEO asks for the approval record, not loudly, not accusing, just calm, like he expects it to exist. My manager sits up straighter. The smile fades a little, and that's when it hits me that this didn't start today. And whatever comes next is going to make that obvious. He doesn't stop after that. He leans forward instead. Like this is the part he prepared for. Starts talking in that steady, practiced tone. The one people use when they want something to sound final. Admin access isn't personal. It's about risk, about coverage, about making sure no single person becomes a bottleneck. He says my name once, just once, like a footnote. The CEO lets him keep going. Doesn't interrupt. Doesn't look at me. That part lands harder than losing the access. I can handle being wrong. I'm not great with being ignored. I shift in my chair. The seat creaks. I hate that it makes noise. I catch myself nodding along for half a second before I stop. Old habit. Agree first. Question later. Or never. I think about the last few weeks. The way his replies got shorter. How everything was, we'll circle back. How I kept telling myself not to read into it. Don't be dramatic. Don't be that person. There's a smell in the room now. Burnt coffee. Someone reheated it too many times. It sticks in the back of my throat. I realize I'm clenching my jaw. He keeps framing it like he did me a favor, like taking something from me was a form of protection, like I should be relieved. I look at the CEO again, still quiet, listening, letting the words stack up. My fingers hover over the keyboard. Useless. I don't have anything to type anymore. That feels symbolic in a way I don't like. I want to say that this wasn't how it was explained to me, that nothing about this feels temporary, that decisions don't get made this cleanly by accident. I don't say any of it. I sit there and let him finish. Let the explanation settle in the room like it belongs there, and I hate myself a little for how easy it is to stay quiet when someone else sounds so sure of themselves. Someone from IT joins the call. I don't know his name. I recognize the posture, though. Slight lean forward, fingers already moving, like he's done this before and doesn't want to be part of it. The record comes up on the shared screen. My name. The date. The scope spelled out in boring, careful language. Approved, clean, no notes, no conditions. The word sits there longer than it should. So no, not a glitch, not a misunderstanding. Something tightens in my chest. Not panic. Pressure. The kind that builds when you realize you've been inside a slow problem for a while and only just noticed the walls. My manager starts filling the silence immediately. Talks faster now. The tone shifts. Less confident. More explanatory. Temporary. Operational need. Just until things stabilize. His hands move a lot. Open palms. Reassuring gestures. Like he's calming a room that isn't actually upset. The CEO doesn't react. Doesn't nod. Doesn't interrupt. Just watches the screen like he's memorizing it. I think about the email from a few weeks ago. The one that landed with a soft ping while I was in another meeting. I remember glancing at it, seeing his name in the preview, and deciding to deal with it later. I didn't want to seem impatient. I didn't want to make it a thing. That choice feels heavier now. The IT guy scrolls once, stops, scrolls back. His mouth tightens for half a second before he smooths it out. Subtle, but I catch it. My manager keeps talking. The words start looping. Same points. New order. I stay still. Hands flat on the desk. I don't trust them not to shake if I move. This is the part where it becomes obvious that someone didn't forget. Someone decided. I didn't miss the moment. I just didn't recognize it when it happened. The IT guy switches tabs without announcing it. No build-up, just a different screen. An access log, rows and timestamps. One line highlighted. My name sits there like it belongs. Request type reduced privileges. Reason field filled in. Short, polite, almost careful. I only need a second. Maybe less. The wording gives it away. Too clean, too symmetrical. I don't write like that. Especially not when I'm rushed. I leave things half-finished. I add notes to myself. This looks composed. I lean closer to the screen without meaning to. That wasn't me. My voice comes out steadier than I expect. No edge. No explanation attached. Just the sentence. Nothing dramatic follows. No one reacts the way movies train you to expect. No raised voices. No sharp intake of breath. The air conditioner kicks on. Loud. A hard click. Then the rush of air. It fills the gap where someone should have said something. The IT guy glances at the manager, then back to the screen. His cursor hovers but doesn't move. My manager stays perfectly still, eyes fixed on the table, hands folded like he's waiting for a verdict that hasn't been announced yet. I don't look at him. I'm not ready for that. Seeing my own name used that way does something strange to my stomach. Not anger. Not yet. It's more like being misquoted in public. Except the stakes are real, and nobody's correcting it for you. The CEO leans back. Chair creaks. Slow movement. Deliberate. He doesn't say anything, but the room adjusts around that silence. The log stays on the screen. No one rushes to defend it. No one rushes to delete it either. Whatever this is, it's no longer just about access. It's about permission, about who thought they had it, and how long they'd been using it without asking. The CEO finally looks at me. Did you follow up? Not accusatory. Flat. Like he already knows the answer and just needs to hear it land in the room. Yes. 3 times. I don't add anything else at first. The silence stretches long enough that it feels like I should justify myself. I don't. Someone from IT pulls up another screen. Different log this time. Email activity. Dates line up too neatly to ignore. Opened. Opened again. No reply. I swallow. My throat feels dry all of a sudden. I didn't CC anyone. That's the part that keeps replaying. I thought copying more people would make it awkward. Like I was escalating too early, like I'd look insecure or impatient. I really believed staying polite was the smarter move. The IT guy scrolls slowly, careful not to rush past anything. Every open timestamp sits there like proof I volunteered without meaning to. My manager doesn't interrupt, doesn't fill the space this time. His foot taps once under the table, then stops. I feel heat creep up my neck. Not because I followed up, because I trusted the quiet. Because I told myself unanswered emails meant later. Not no. There's a low buzz from my laptop fan as it works harder than it needs to. I focus on that sound for a second, just to stay steady. I think about how many drafts I closed instead of sending. How many times I chose not to make things uncomfortable. It felt professional in the moment. Safe. Looking at the logs now. It just feels naive. The CEO nods once. Small and almost imperceptible. Not approval. Not sympathy. Just acknowledgement that the record speaks for itself. The screen stays up. No one argues with it. And for the first time since this started, I understand that silence wasn't neutral here. It wasn't patience. It wasn't grace. It was leverage. He finally looks at me. Not the quick glance from before. This one sticks. Measures. The tone changes with it. I'm not senior enough for that level of access. My role doesn't require that much visibility. It's about structure, governance. The words come out clipped now. Defensive. Like he's narrowing the frame so I won't fit inside it. I almost laugh. It rises fast, sharp, and I swallow it just in time. My mouth twitches anyway. I can't stop that part. Last quarter. That same voice called my numbers critical. Said the rollout wouldn't have landed without my work. Said it in front of the whole floor. I remember because I'd gone home lighter that night, replaying it in my head like proof I was finally seen. The CEO doesn't look at me when he responds. If she's not senior enough, he says, slow. Why is she still listed as system owner? No edge, no accusation, just a line drawn on the table. My manager opens his mouth, then closes it, clears his throat, shifts in his chair. The legs scrape against the floor, a harsh sound that cuts through the room. It sticks in my head longer than it should. He tries again. Mentions transition plans. Mentions alignment. Nothing concrete. Just noise. The CEO waits him out. I watch my manager's hands. They don't know where to land anymore. He folds them, unfolds them, presses his palms flat like that might ground him. This is the first time I've seen him hesitate like this. The confidence he walked in with is thinning, leaking out in small pauses. I stay quiet. Not frozen this time. Intentional. There's a strange calm in realizing the story I was stuck inside isn't holding anymore. Not because I argued, not because I proved anything, just because it doesn't line up. And everyone in the room can see that now. This is the part I didn't expect. The CEO doesn't turn to me, doesn't ask how I feel, doesn't invite me to walk through my side of it like this is a misunderstanding that just needs better framing. He stays focused on my manager. By what authority did you reassign her access? No build-up, no softening, just the question. Placed carefully in the middle of the table. My manager answers immediately. Too fast. Like he's been waiting for something else and didn't get it. He talks about operational discretion, mentions urgency, mentions precedent, mentions conversations that supposedly happened but never quite lands on where the permission came from. He keeps going. Every sentence stretches a little thinner than the last. Each explanation adds a new assumption he was never actually given. I can hear it happening in real time, the way a rope starts to fray once you pull on it too hard. The CEO doesn't interrupt, doesn't nod, doesn't react at all. That's what makes it worse. My hands feel cold on the desk. Not shaking, just numb. I don't move them. I don't want to draw attention back to myself now that it's finally off me. My manager shifts in his chair again, clears his throat, tries to circle back to intent, to outcomes, to how things usually work. Nothing sticks. There's a quiet in the room that feels heavier than the earlier tension. Not hostile, just settled. Like a conclusion forming on its own without anyone announcing it yet. I realize something then. Sitting there watching him talk himself deeper into it. Some people think explaining is the same thing as control. They keep adding words, hoping one of them will rebuild the ground under their feet. It doesn't. The CEO lets the silence return when my manager finally runs out of air. He glances once at the screen, then back at him. Still calm. Still unreadable. Whatever comes next isn't about me defending myself anymore. It's about what he can't defend at all. Nothing dramatic happens. No raised voices, no slammed laptops. No one gets walked out. That almost feels worse, like the air got sucked out slowly instead of all at once. The CEO speaks again, calm as before. Access will be restored. Not immediately, but today. An audit will be opened. Full scope. All recent changes. Until that's done, permissions are frozen across the system. He says it like a checklist. Each item lands and stays. The IT guy nods and starts typing. No commentary, just work. The screen updates, line by line. My name reappears where it used to be. Not active yet. Pending. Still, it's there. My manager nods too. Quick, eager, like he's agreeing with something he hasn't fully heard. His shoulders loosen a little, as if he thinks this is survivable. As if this is just process catching up, not consequence. He doesn't understand what an audit actually means. The CEO stands, straightens his jacket. The meeting is over. That's how it ends. No verdict announced. No lecture delivered. People start closing laptops. Chairs scrape back. The normal end of meeting sounds feel louder than usual. Someone jokes quietly about running late to another call. No one laughs. The office smells like stale carpet and warm electronics. End of the day smell. The kind that usually means nothing important happened. Today, it feels wrong. I stay seated a moment longer than everyone else. Not stunned, just recalibrating. The adrenaline drains and leaves something steadier behind. My manager passes by me on his way out. He pauses like he might say something. Anything. His mouth opens, then closes again. He nods once and keeps walking. I watch his back retreat down the hall. The confidence is gone now, replaced with something tighter, more cautious. I don't feel victorious. I don't feel relieved either. What I feel is the weight of things finally being written down, tracked, and reviewed by people who don't need to raise their voices to be taken seriously. Quiet accountability has a sound. It's the absence of excuses, and it lingers long after the meeting ends. HR reaches out the next morning. Not urgent, carefully worded. A calendar invite with a neutral subject line and a slot that assumes I'll say yes. We sit in a small room, glass walls, no names on the door. The HR rep keeps her voice even, hands folded. Like this is something she's done 100 times. She talks about mediation, about clearing the air, about moving forward together. I let her finish. No. It comes out quieter than I expect, but it doesn't waver. She blinks once, waits, gives me space to change my mind. I don't. I ask for a transfer instead. Same building, different chain of command, immediate, if possible. She pauses, types a note, asks one follow-up question about timing. That's it. No pushback, no speech about resilience or teamwork. That's how I know it's the right call. The paperwork moves faster than I thought it would. Turns out distance is easier to approve than reconciliation. When I pack my desk later, I keep it minimal. Laptop, notebook, nothing sentimental. I don't want anything tying me back. My manager walks past while I'm doing it. He slows. Just a little. Our eyes almost meet. He looks away first. That's new. There's something small and bittersweet about that shift. Not triumph, more like confirmation. The dynamic is different now, whether he wants it to be or not. I don't feel brave. I don't feel bold. What I feel is lighter. The decision closes something behind me. A door I didn't realize I'd been holding open out of habit. Distance isn't dramatic. It doesn't make noise. But it changes the shape of what's possible next. And for the first time since this started, the next step actually belongs to me. A few weeks later, his access disappears. Not temporarily, not pending review. Gone. There's no announcement, No goodbye email. No awkward all-hands explanation. One morning, his name just isn't there anymore. Not on approval chains, not on escalation lists, not anywhere that matters. People notice. They don't comment. I finish my transfer paperwork that same week. The final confirmation comes through in my inbox with a short line at the bottom, effective immediately. Once I click accept, there's no undo button, no appeal. The system doesn't care how long you hesitate before deciding. It only records that you did. I still check logs sometimes. Not obsessively. Just a glance. Old habit. Like touching your pocket to make sure your keys are still there. My new manager introduces me in a meeting without qualifiers. No jokes. No softening. Just my role and what I own. It feels strange at first. How clean it is. How uncomplicated. I don't forgive anyone. I don't sit around waiting for an apology that might smooth things over. That urge fades faster than I thought it would. Closure turns out to be optional. What stays with me is the shift, the quiet one, the way I don't second-guess access requests anymore, the way I don't assume silence means patience, the way I no longer confuse being agreeable with being safe. I made a choice that locked behind me, not loudly, not heroically, but completely. Here's the lesson I carry forward, the one that actually stuck systems don't protect people. They record decisions. If you don't decide where you stand, someone else will decide it for you and write it down like it was always that way. I didn't win by taking anything back. I won by stepping into a place where no one gets to quietly take it from me again.